So the video coming up is basically some blocks I had to make. It's not for the Tormach, but it's on the 940. It's manual, so it's basically, I'm not trying to teach anybody machining. There's a ton of people out there that you can figure all that out. It's just some things that I use, some tips, basically how I run through my projects. That's what my channel is basically going to be now. We're going to just run through things I do, record it, and hopefully somebody will learn something, or I'll learn something in the process. But basically it's just going to be me running through a set. I lost the end of the video, so I don't basically say here's the block and yada yada yada. It just basically ends at me finishing the block. So it's going to be split up a little bit. It's video I've had for a little while that I'm just now splicing together for online. So hope you enjoy. Okay, here's something I wanted to show you. I have a block that I basically scribed out the locations of the holes and everything. I didn't drill them because I didn't think it was worth the time. But so here I have 2964 drill here, 2964 drill here. The center locations also my J drill and just a 1/2 inch hole for this part scribed in where they should be. So what I like to do is kind of for a sanity check before I start doing things, I'll kind of get my hole lined up where I think everything should be, drop this block in, make sure it lines up, and if it does, then I'm good. Not drilling holes when you're trying to line up holes like that makes it a lot easier if you don't actually drill them, because you have a massive area you're looking at. Hopefully that makes sense. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get set up, and then I'll drop this block in, and then you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. Alright. Okay, so I have dropped in the scribed piece. I do not think this thing's going to focus properly, but we're going to try it. Yeah, we're losing it. I still can't figure out the autofocus. But anyway, here is the first drill hole I'm going to make. There's the center. Put it in up against the block. Lock it in. Let me see if I can show you the top here. Actually, you should be able to see the scribe mark. And maybe not be able to tell, but it's dead center on the middle of that hole. So now I know that the part when I put it in, it will be exactly where I need that hole drilled. So I'm going to go ahead and center drill and drill the first tapped hole. I like to, if there's a bunch of tapped holes, I like to start with the smallest one, especially since I'm doing it by hand. I want to do the smallest hole, tap it, make sure I don't break anything. If that's good, then I come back, do the next holes, and so on. So the first thing I'm going to do is going to drill the first hole, and then run through the tapping process of the first hole. If that all goes smooth, I'll move on to drilling the next size hole, and so on. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so here's my machine side. There's a burr here and a little bit of a burr here, but mostly a burr here. I have my parallel set just to the side, so the bottom burr will not touch the parallels, and the top burr will be above the jaws here. So the only thing touching will be right here on this machine surface. So we should be good as far as our stop being set. I have... can't remember if I showed this, so I'm going to show it again. I have this block that I had made my measurements out on. If I bring that in, set it up against the stop. When I bring my quill down, it's spot on. So I know I'm in the correct spot before I go drilling a bunch of holes or even having to measure. So we're going to drop this in. Yeah, I just have a center drill in here. I'm just going to put a little cutting oil and see how it goes. I think I'm running at 90 RPMs right now. Actually, 210. Nope, 90. Oh, embarrassing. I forgot to tighten the... this is just high-speed steel. Okay, just wanted to get a little center drill started there. I'm going to go ahead and burn through the rest of these and move on to the next step. Okay, I think I've lost video twice, so I'm going to do this quickly. Basically, I just switched out the center drill with the drill bit, and now I'm going to poke a hole through, lining everything up like I had it before. The drill bit's wearing out already after about, I don't know, 7 pieces, so I'm going to try to make it through this. My camera battery's dying, so here we go. I seem to have best luck not backing out. I believe the reason is the chips fall back into the hole. So I tend to let my chips get longer than I like. But when I do have to back out, I try to clear the chips as best as possible. We're going to 1.13 on the depth here. We're 0.4 down now. Okay, this is my hand tapper. I don't want to talk about it too much, but it makes tapping much easier. I used to hate tapping before this thing, so if you got to do any hand tapping, this is really nice machine. It keeps everything square, keeps everything straight, the tap going straight down. You can feel the tension. It's pretty nice. So they're cheap. There's several different places that have them. I believe I bought this on Inco many years ago. They're bought out by somebody else now. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and just tap a hole, and we'll get back to finishing it off.
Yep.
So I have some just threading oil here, and so this device keeps your workpiece from turning, keeps it square, keeps it flat on the base, keeps this parallel and straight to the hole. Really makes tapping a whole lot easier. Remember, this is stainless. This is a 5/16/18 tap. Just actually a local hardware store tap. Just breaking the chips every half to a quarter turn. You don't want to break your tap in there. So this is the reason why I'm taking it from the mill over here, is because in case the tap breaks in this hole, then I won't have drilled a bunch of other holes and wasted a bunch of time. So I like to try to get my tapping done in between each op if possible. Alright, so we'll hit the bottom. Just going to back out. And on to the next one. Okay, now that we have the hole tapped, I moved over to the second hole position. I put my marked blank in that I scribed the locations on, moved it to where it should be, bring my quill down to make sure everything looks good for a sanity check, everything's lined up. Like before, we're putting the machine side up against the block, the stop here, locking it in, and that should put our hole spot on where it needs to be, which is 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch off the side. Running 210 RPMs, and we're just spot drilling all the pieces, and we'll come back and drill them for a 1/2 inch hole. Just need to put a spot there for the drill to get started. Go ahead and knock out the rest of these. Be back with you. Okay, so we've got the holes tapped now. We've got the center drill put in. Now we're going to drill the 1/2 inch hole. All we did was basically swap out the center drill with the drill. Repeat on everything else up against the block. All of that jazz. Here we go with the first hole. We're running about 210 RPM still. 1/2 inch drill. Again, we try not to back out too much, because it seems like when you come back in to start the hole again, it takes a second for the drill bit to bite back in. So we let the chips get a little longer than we want to. It's stainless. Alright, we have the center drill back in, set up for the next op. We're going to drill two 2964 drill bit holes. So I put my, I've got everything lined up how I think it should be, put in my test block, lock it down, come down to my scribe mark, spot on. I'm gonna go ahead and center drill the first piece here, and then we'll move on to the rest of them. Perfect. Okay. I'm gonna verify the drawing before I drill this hole. Everything seems legit on the test block. Oh, actually, yeah, no, that's good. Spot on. Let's drill some holes. Or center drill, anyway. Alright, got a little spot there for the next drill bit to come in. I'll come back when it's time to drill that. Okay, we have the, we just replaced the center drill with the regular drill. These are going to be drilled in taps, so we're going to go ahead and start with drilling the first hole. Okay, so I've gone to set up the next drill hole. We're going to center drill it first. I have got the my scribed block in there just to verify, sanity check, make sure I'm going in the right place. I've got too much time into these parts to screw it up. This just gives me a quick sanity check, make sure everything's good. So we're going to go ahead and put that in. Make sure that our hole lines up with where it should be. It does. Now we're going to go ahead and put in the roll piece and go ahead and center drill. Put our block up here, make sure everything looks good. That hole's for that one. This hole's for this one. Everything looks good. Go ahead and put a little center drill. That's it. I'm gonna mow through the rest. I don't think I recorded tapping the hole. I think I've already done that in the video, so I may end up recording tapping the hole in the end. I don't know. Still trying to feel things out, so if you like the way this video is formatted, this is kind of where I'm going for. So let me know if you prefer a different format or if this will work out for a while. Thanks for watching, guys.